is the Biden administration working with the NGOs and the UN in an effort to bring people to the United States?
Again, demonstrably, 100% yes.
Weaponized migration. Weaponized migration. I want you to think about those words, because coming up, I have a very, very good friend, somebody who I consider, I actually really do, a national treasure, Michael Yon, a war correspondent, somebody who served in our U.S. military and special operations, somebody who's been on the ground in war zones all over the world, even with me, and somebody who's continuing to do the tough work in Panama. I hope to be with him there very soon. In Panama, actually on the ground, investigating, interviewing migrants that are heading to the United States through the most dangerous place on earth, the Darien Gap. Yes, it is considered one of the most dangerous places on earth. And Michael Yon has a warning for every single one of you, for all of us, that there is an active effort to take down the United States of America, that this effort is ongoing, that there are people within the United States government that are making it happen, that our policy is aiding and abetting our enemies, and that there is weaponized migration. Weaponized migration. He believes, and I'm going to let him say it in his own words, and I can back this up with sources that I have been interviewing in Border Patrol, U.S. Customs and Enforcement, immigration, and all of the folks that I've been talking to in U.S. Intel, that the numbers that you are hearing are far greater than what you're hearing on the news as far as migration coming into the United States. Some estimates are as high as 300,000 a month. I've heard estimates going as high as more than 400,000 a month. But Michael Yon wants you to know one thing. He wants you to understand that there is weaponized migration. And that weaponized migration is not only coming from China, but that the United Nations and the United States and the World Economic Forum and others who believe in global, and that is a global agenda, are making it happen. And he has the proof. You do not want to miss this episode. Folks, before we get to Michael, I want to talk to you about Allegiance Gold. I love Allegiance Gold, and gold and silver allow you to protect what you've worked so hard for. And it gives you back the control and privacy that you need. And because reputation is so important to me, the only company that I recommend right now is Allegiance Gold. And listen to what Michael has to say. Do your own research. Realize that you need to diversify your funds if you want to protect your family. And right now, you can get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. So my friends at Allegiance Gold can help you protect your IRA or your 401k with physical gold and silver, or have it delivered securely right to your door. They will educate you on the benefits of physical gold. Why? Because they care and they want to build a long-term relationship with you. So right now, get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. So don't wait. Call or click today. 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, S-A-R-A, no H. Or go to protectwithsara.com. That's protectwithsara.com. We can't control the Biden administration, folks, but we can prepare. That's 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, S-A-R-A, or protectwithsara.com. And now we've got Michael Yon. He's getting ready to head out to Panama. He is begging me to join him on the trip this week, which I very well may do. I'm already planning on it. He is a journalist. He is a war fighter. He is an expert on war and crisis throughout the globe. And more importantly, he is my good friend and someone that we should all be listening to. Michael, you have a true understanding, I believe, like very few people, of the threats that are facing our nation. And I think most of the American people, along with our media, are asleep at the wheel.
Big time asleep. I mean, most people, if you ask them how many aliens or migrants are coming through every month, they'll say like 200, 300, 500, maybe 1,000. I'm like, no, it's at least 300,000 per month, at least 300,000. Nobody knows how many are coming through. DHS doesn't know, Department of Homeland Security doesn't, nobody really knows. So I was talking with a very experienced Border Patrol friend yesterday on the phone. I called him up. I said, without me loading the answer here, how many people do you think are crossing the Darien Gap every month? That's a highly defensible number that I can definitely fight this corner. And he said the same thing that I just said on the John Batchelor show, 300,000. And I know he didn't hear the John Batchelor show yet because it was recorded. So he actually came to the same number I did. That's highly defensible. So that's 10,000 a day, right? And that's easy. I think the number's a lot higher. But anyway, so why is Darien Gap important? As soon as the inauguration happened and Biden was installed into office, I flew straight from Washington, D.C., straight to El Paso. And because that's right on the border, of course.
Right.
And in fact, I was just in El Paso again. And immediately the flows began within 24 hours. Like I left the inauguration. In about 24 hours, I was on the border and boom, they were starting to get flooded. And the Border Patrol like, hey, we can't catch them all. That was immediate, right? Now, from there, I went down to Mexico, and then I went down to Colombia. And so I went down to Colombia. No, let's talk about the Darien Gap. What is the Darien Gap?
Right.
If you look at there's a highway or highway system that goes all the way from Alaska all the way to Tierra del Fuego at the tip of South America. And so you could get on a motorcycle and go all the way to the tip of South America, except for this one gap, which is about 60 miles. They call that the Darien Gap. Or actually in Colombia and Panama, they call it Tampon de la Darien, or what do you speak Spanish?
Tampon de la Darien.
It's the plug. It's the plug of Darien, right? So they call it the plug. We call it the gap, right? And so there's it's epic jungle. I've been in jungles around the world. This is a jungle's jungle, and it's
so much jungle's jungle. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I remember the first time I started hearing about the Darien Gap. And I would look at old pictures like from National Geographic and people that had, this is like an unknown world of indigenous peoples and this really rough jungle. But it's so dangerous that even in the past, confronting some of the indigenous tribes there, you could be murdered instantly. I mean, if you run across the wrong tribe, or they'd behead you and put your head on a pole. And I mean, there was all kinds of crazy I would say, ancient kind of stories about what happens in this jungle. And it was all horrible and filled with fear, right? I mean, because it was such an unknown for us.
It's pretty wild. I mean, I spend months at a time down there out with the Indians and whatnot. And I would say at least 200 have died in about the last 2 weeks or so going into the Darien Gap. Most of those are flash floods. At one point, there was about 160 killed about maybe 2 weeks ago. And that was just from flash floods. But then there's the Indians and the FARC and all these other things, like Oscar Blue and Ben Bergquam were in a firefight recently down there, in which case they were about the Colombians. They were several days walk inside of Panama where they just raped some women. And Oscar Blue and Ben have the women on video saying, oh, we just got raped. And so Ben is sending me their grid court. I'm actually tracking his coordinates because we have satellite communications between each other. So I'm watching him, and he started sending me messages. Hey, these women just got raped. We know the general location of the rapist, and we're with the Senefront, which is sort of like the Panamanian. You'll see them soon. They're sort of like the Panamanian army, you might say, the Border Patrol army / police. And they're very professional. So he said, we're going to move to contact and try to intercept the rapist, right? So I'm tracking his whereabouts for about 5 hours, and finally his icon stops. I was like, well, they must be either having lunch or getting close. Actually, they were in a firefight. They were in which Ben and Oscar both got in. Those rapists were just about to rape another woman, and the Senefront got up on them, lit them up, and Ben and Oscar both got this on video, shot one of the guys, killed him, captured two more. They've already been sentenced. I think the 25 years, they got sentenced in like 2 weeks. So this is like 3 months ago, right? Was it that long ago?
Are these indigenous tribal people who are running the area, or these Panamanian militias, or are they? It's a
big amalgam. It's a big amalgam of people. It's like Colombians who come deep into Panama, FARC people and that sort of thing. It's also Imbara Indians that I go out with a lot, Kuna Indians, Wunan Indians. and just people down there that are, that decide to take their luck on robbing people. It's the law of the jungle. I mean, this is like, you're way out of the jungle. It can take 6 days, 10 days to get through.
I was talking to a group from Venezuela I was actually, I believe it was El Paso. This was my last trip to El Paso. No, Brownsville. Actually, this was in Brownsville. This was my last trip to Brownsville. And there was a group of men from Venezuela, and they were telling me I'd not seen anyone this scared in a long time. And they said, we will never go back through the Darien again. They said so many women were killed. There were children that were taken and raped. And the way that it was almost as if they had confronted an evil that they had never expected. Is that a real assessment of what is happening there?
Straight up. When you come down with me, you're going to meet women who just got raped like yesterday. You're going to meet a lot of them. And that's why the U.S. government, with U.S. taxpayer money, hands out rape kits. Or I think they just stopped, actually, because I just sent somebody to some congressmen want some of these rape kits from OIM or IOM, depending on your language, Organization for Immigration and Migration. This is the pump for the UN. This is the pump organization, the OIM. They hand out these rape kits, which come with a flashlight, which is one of those kind. I dropped it on my floor and it broke recently, but I put it back together. It comes with female condoms. This is a literal rape kit. So because they hand these out in Colombia, because they say all the pretty ones are going to get raped, and many of the children get raped as well. So it comes with the female condoms, comes with male condoms, and it comes with those abortion pills, right? It comes with those after day
after the Plan B.
Yeah, day after it comes, and then I mean, they hand these out
to the women. Does it blow your mind, Michael? Does it blow your mind that it is our policy that is emboldening not only the cartels and the human traffickers and the most nefarious people on the planet to do what they're doing, but it also is it's the same policy that is basically sending a message across the globe to come on through. It's almost like we made the cartels our middlemen. I keep saying this. We're using the cartels and the human traffickers as our middlemen to bringing people illegally into our country to violate our own law. And this is by executive order.
It's not like we're almost doing it.
We are
100% doing it. I'm out there with them all the time. I've had probably, 10 run-ins with cartels in the last 20 days. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, like shining lasers on us through the fence at Yuma in Arizona, harassing us in New Mexico with ATVs on our side of the border. And then at the same place in New Mexico, I saw a guy with what appeared to be an M16 or definitely M16 or AR-15 on the Mexican side, which he was in America. He was right at the fence. And if you're at the fence on the Mexican side, you're still in the United States. He had a literal M16 or AR-15 right there. And as you know, I was a weapons specialist in special forces. I'm extremely familiar with weapons. You know what I'm saying? So I know what I saw. He was right there, and he was pumping people through the holes in the wall, right? And anyway, back down to Darien. The Red Cross down in Darien hands out these incredible maps. And I'll hold up the QR code after we're done. They hand out these maps. And it shows exactly how to get to the United States. On the back, it shows you, first of all, it's got all these numbers on here. This is Mexico part. They hand them out down in Panama. This is Panama, right? So you come through right down here at the bottom in Panama, right down here.
Right.
And then you go up by bus and whatnot. All these incredibly great buses, you're going to see them. And here's a bunch of numbers. You'll see this map when you come down to see me because I'll have it with me. And it has all the, you go to the number and then you go here. It'll give you the phone numbers and the social media accounts and how to find places. It shows you on the back, it tells you like, watch out for snakes and here is telling you, like, don't get drunk and ride on the tops of trains. There's this train that goes over Del Rio.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here, let me show you the QR code.
So the NGOs, these non-governmental organizations, this is something that we have been talking about. Yep, there you go. QR codes now make it life easier because I guess everybody's getting a cell phone too, right?
Yeah. Oh, they got cell phones. Make sure to screenshot that. And then I'm going to turn it over and hold up another one. Actually, you're going to end up holding the same map when you come down because I'll have it with me in my bags. Yep. And then on the back, I'll hold this one up too. That's on the back of the same map. Oh, let me hold it up so that's good and flat there for you.
Hey folks, get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase at Allegiance Gold when you tell them that Sara sent you. Gold and silver allow you to protect what you've worked so hard for, and they give you back the control and the privacy that you need. Don't just trust me, do your own research. But right now you'll get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. So don't wait, call or click today, 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, S-A-R-A, or go to protectwithsara.com. We can't control the Biden administration, folks, but we can prepare. 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, S-A-R-A, or protectwithsara.com. If you love conversations with experts like Michael Yon and you want to know more about how you can prepare for the future, please subscribe to me on YouTube and on Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. It really does make a difference. Thank you. Let's go through this in a little bit of detail so people understand. I'm just going to ask questions. You tell me if you say yes or no. Are non-governmental organizations aiding in the trafficking of human beings to the United States?
Yes, in large capital letters, in a huge way. Massive.
Is the United Nations aiding in the trafficking of human beings to the United States?
This is United Nations rape kit. You know what I mean? Yeah. OIM is United Nations. 100%.
100%. Why is our government working in concert? And I'm talking about the executive branch. I'm talking about the Biden administration. Is the Biden administration working with the NGOs and the UN in an effort to bring people to the United States?
Again, demonstrably, 100% yes.
So my question then, Michael, and everyone asks me this, what is their purpose of opening the floodgates and not protecting the national security of our nation or the people that are being trafficked for that matter?
To be crystal clear, the U.S. military is also intimately involved with this, demonstrably. Not, I think, not maybe. When you come to Darien, you will physically see it, right? And when you go to the border, which you've already done down in Texas and other places, you will physically see it. They are physically helping right in front of you in uniform. Right?
I've seen the National
Guard. Why are they doing this?
We lost a National Guardsman trying to save somebody's life, but I've seen the National Guard actually guide people into the country. Say, no, you got to move down this way, get on that island, and then come this way, and you'll be fine. I've seen that.
I see it all the time. I'm down there, and the National Guard will be telling us, don't film. I was in Mexico on the Piedras Negras side of Del Rio. I spent almost 2 weeks down there on the Mexican side of the hotel because I like the Mexican side better, actually. And I'm sitting here watching Governor Abbott, if you want to call him Governor Abbott of Texas. He's sitting here giving a speech, and the Rio Grande's right in front of me. He's giving a speech about how they're closing the border using Texas National Guard. I'm like, they're walking right by me, right like 10 feet away, getting into the river. That's why I'm at this spot. And they're going across the river, and the Texas National Guard are lifting them up on the other side of the bank. You know, Del Rio, you've been there.
Right.
And I'm waving to him. I'm like, hey, the governor is on right now saying you're stopping this. And they're helping them up. I'm like, you're doing it wrong. You know, I'm yelling at the National Guard across the river. I'm on the Mexican side. The Texas National Guard are helping them while the governor is saying that we're stopping them. It's right in front of me live, you know. You can't even make up this stuff.
See, and Governor Abbott has to answer these questions because I also feel that way. Sometimes I feel like, okay, he's doing all he can do. And then I get down there and then I'm like, wait a minute. Am I being played? Are they blocking half of this? Half of this? Yeah, exactly. And then I talk to Texas DPS. I'm friends with a lot of them, but I feel that there is this political game being played on me, on the American people, and on everyone. And it's a lie, Michael. It's a lie that is killing people. It's killing our children. It's killing children from countries all over the world that are being dragged through the most horrendous nightmare I can ever imagine, which is through those jungles and in the arms of those cartels. And I try to put myself, and it terrifies me. I try to put myself in the shoes of the migrants. And you know what happens to me? I've been in war zones. I've been everywhere, but I start to sweat. I start to feel anxious. I'm like, my God, the nightmares that some of these children and women have been through. And the organ harvesting, I mean, it's like, it's almost diabolical, and we're allowing it to happen.
It's 100% diabolical. And you ask, what's the end state? The end state is there. Let me rewind, and then we'll get to your question that I still haven't answered, because I'm ready to answer that question. But Governor Abbott is clearly one of them, right? He's clearly World Economic Forum. That's crystal clear. He's on their website. His biography is on their website. He is not really the governor of Texas. He's like the appointee of World Economic Forum for Texas sector of the invasion. And people will say, well, he's busing aliens up to Chicago or Washington. Who cares? He's clearing the deck so more can come through. He could stop the border. He's not doing it. Are you stopping the border, or are you not stopping it at the border? You are not, period.
How can he stop it? How can he stop it? How can he stop it?
Easy. Block the roads. Block trade with Mexico.
Exactly.
Block trade with Mexico and say, hey, boom, I can do this. These are our roads. You're not getting through.
Right.
He's not doing it. And people say he can't do that. Why not? He can't do it because he works for World Economic Forum, right? Who is co-sanguinated with Chinese Communist Party.
Thank you so much for joining me and Michael Yon today. This has been such an important conversation that I know you're going to be excited about this. I've had to break it up into 3 parts. We are breaking this interview up into 3 parts. You and I need to know what's going on. We need people that are actually there, not people who are pretending to know what is going on, or for that matter, a government lying to us. I want to hear what Michael Yon has to say, and there is so much more. Our next episodes, we're going to delve deep into globalism, the World Economic Forum, what is happening with our fertilizer shortage, how we are looking at possibly a shortage of food in the very near future, and what you and I need to do to protect ourselves and to protect our families. You do not want to miss this upcoming episode. I'm telling you that. Follow me on Truth at Sarah Carter Official, on Twitter at Sarah Carter DC, and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless our great nation. God bless the future and our world. May we have peace. And God bless the great state of Texas.